everyone, it's Dora from flippinghousesanpancakes.com, and I thought today I would give you a small tour of my very first kitchen that I ever designed, which is actually my very own kitchen. So let's take a look around. Okay, so this is my kitchen. This is the very first kitchen that I designed. I had done other kitchens where I had drawn them for my husband. For example, he came home and they needed to replace some kitchens in some of our apartments, but they were just replacing them with the same size cabinet in the same location that had already been there, and they just needed it drawn out for the installer. So that was fine. They told me which cabinets and where to put it, and I used my graph paper and I drew it out. This is the first kitchen where I really designed it. What happened was we bought this beautiful house and everything had been redone, including the kitchen. It was so terrible. I can't even begin to tell you. It was a white, super cheap cabinet. Not wood, not a wood cabinet. Okay, it was a white cabinet. It was only wrapped right here. It had a white laminate countertop, and every time you put something down, it would make like a ring on it. Horrible. And of course I had little kids then, and so every fingerprint, every peanut butter smear, everything, you saw everything. Had one stove, had one sink, had one microwave installed above the stove. It's actually one unit. They were connected, which was really terrible. And then there was a cabinet right behind where I, like on the other side of the camera, which I'll turn it around a little bit and show you. And there was a little run of cabinets there. And then we had a big sliding door right here, which was lovely, but really every time we walked into the kitchen through that door, everything came in with us. The rain, the wind, the leaves that were on the ground, everything. And after 9 years of living with this little tiny kitchen, and we had like put a little rolling island to try and add more space. It just was too small. And it was really squishy. There were walls everywhere, so the whole thing could be blocked off. We decided that we would actually renovate the kitchen. So we hired somebody. She came, she did a drawing for me, and I just didn't like it. I didn't think I got enough countertop. I didn't get the seating that I wanted because we sat in the kitchen to eat a lot of times, and it was too squishy. I wasn't going to get what I wanted. And I decided I wasn't going to build that. How many times do you get a chance to renovate your kitchen, right? So I decided, you know what? We're not quite ready to do the project. What if I do a lot of research and I learn how to lay out a kitchen myself and see if I can come up with a better design? I did that. I did a lot of research and I drew one after the other. And all these were hand drawn on graph paper. Which means every time I changed something, I redrew it on graph paper. And I redrew until I came up with this kitchen. And it is not a huge kitchen. I used the space that I had available to me. So we did not make any sort of addition to the house to put this kitchen in. We just reworked the space that was already here. Not the biggest kitchen I've ever done. I have definitely designed bigger kitchens than this. But it came out lovely. Now, keep in mind, I did this kitchen 9 years ago. So for example, my quartz countertops, they are not necessarily the latest fashion trend. These were very nice countertops when we bought them. It was like the newest thing to be able to get sort of a stone look with a granite look with a quartz countertop. Now you can get the marble look, which is gorgeous. I've put that in a lot of my houses. But at that point in time, that didn't exist. So it was either if we really wanted quartz because I'd been having all the staining on my counters, and I had previously had a granite countertop in the house before this. And it stained also. You have to really treat your granite. You really have to put a treatment on it every year. And even then, if it's a lighter color, it will still stain. So we decided to go with quartz, and this was like the newest thing in quartz at the time. And so we ended up going with this. Probably not what I would pick nowadays, but still, it was awesome. And it is definitely durable. I haven't had a scratch on it, so it definitely does its job. But I'm gonna show you a little bit around the kitchen and you'll get to see what I did. Okay, so I'm gonna start my kitchen tour right over here. So I'm gonna swing around and you can see this area actually was not part of our kitchen initially. This was where our washer and dryer were. We had a little pocket door in between the kitchen and the washer and dryer. And we actually ended up taking our washer and dryer, moving it into our family room, which became a laundry / mud room. And that's the way we get in and out now. We go through that door, all of the leaves go in there, all the rain goes in there, all the stuff gets dumped in there instead of coming into the kitchen. And instead of the washer and dryer, I did this. We've got like a washing station here to wash your hands, either when you come out of the bathroom or if you're coming from a meal in the dining room. Got my coffee maker, all my teas and stuff like that, some cabinets, and my big, massive pantry cabinets. Now, my cabinets are not neat and organized right this minute. They are totally crammed, but I'm going to open it anyhow, and you can see my horrifically crammed cabinets with the pull-out drawers. So I did splurge. I did get pull-out drawers for my pantry. Love it. Love it, love it. Got a nice big 30-inch pantry in here. So it gives me plenty of space. Here, just so you see, it is crammed full of stuff. I've got tons of stuff here. I apologize. I am using like a selfie stick, so I apologize if my camera is a little wobbly. So in place of the washer and dryer, I put in a washing station and I put in my big pantry. So then what we have is we walk into the space that was in the kitchen originally, and we got my big fridge. And we've got a big, big cabinet up above, and I actually keep my Passover dishes in there. Some of my big Passover dishes are in there. And actually, when you look around my kitchen, you'll see the second layer of cabinets, except for over the double wall oven. The second layer of cabinets are all Passover dishes, so that when Passover comes, I just close the bottom dish, the bottom cabinets, and I open the top ones. I don't have to schlep everything up and down the stairs. Okay, so I think the best way to really show you how my kitchen is set up is to show you that I've divided it almost 100% straight down the middle. I've got my dairy side and I've got my meat side. And my dairy side is where my original kitchen was. My meat side is not exactly an addition, but that's how we expanded our kitchen, was by taking over another side of the room. So let me show you the dairy side first, and then I'll show you the meat side. All right, so over here on the dairy side, we have essentially a mirror image of what I'm going to show you on the other side, but we have the full kitchen here. I've got my over the stove microwave. It keeps it off the counter. It keeps it out of my cabinets, and it's got a cabinet above it, so it gives me room. I know it's not fancy, and a lot of people don't do that anymore, but I do love having the microwave hood. So I've got my microwave. I've got my dairy stove over here. Now, this is an electric double oven. If I tilt the camera, you can see electric double oven right there. In my old kitchen, step stool. In my old kitchen, we had an old stove and then a weird metal thing that connected it to the old microwave. And pretty gross. The microwave died, but because they were connected, I couldn't get rid of it without getting rid of the stove. It was this one weird unit. It was very strange. So we essentially had to wait until the stove died, and then we got rid of the stove and the microwave together. And my husband had run in, and of course it was like right before Passover. It's always a terrible moment to have your oven die. And he was in the store, and he called me, and he's like, I have an oven. I think like I was 9 months pregnant with one of my kids, maybe. I have an oven. I found a double oven, an electric oven, because we only had electricity in our house at the time, no gas. So it had to be electric. He's like, I found one in the scratch and dent store. It only has a little scratch on the side. So, and it was like $600 down from $1,200 or something. It was a really good price. Maybe it was even cheaper, $400, whatever it was meant for us. So he grabbed that oven, he brought it home. So we had a double electric oven in our old kitchen. When we redid the kitchen, that oven was great and it was working perfectly fine. It was only 2 or 3 years old. So we just used that as our milchik range. So I have two milchik ovens if you want to think about it that way. We use the top one to do a lot of toasting, but we've got the microwave, we've got the oven, there's a dairy dishwasher, and we've got a big giant dairy sink. I've got a Lazy Susan back here. If you've never seen a Lazy Susan, they open up huge amount of space in here. I put all my dishes in there. Not my dishes, my pots and pans. My pots and pans are in there. I got my dishes up over here instead. So this is my dairy side. This is essentially where my old kitchen was. The only thing that's in a different spot is that this dishwasher was not here. There was a cabinet here. The dishwasher was on the other side of the sink, and it was meat. Now I have the whole thing all the way up to those double wall ovens. Everything on this side is dairy, which makes it a lot easier when you're talking to kids or guests. They know this whole side is dairy. If you got it from here, it's dairy. If it's dairy, put it back here. Everything is dairy. So we've got the oven, the microwave, the dishwasher, the big sink. All of it is dairy. And that's what we did with what was the old kitchen, essentially. Now the meat side, that is where we did a lot more work. So we've got the double wall oven, very exciting. I actually owned the double wall oven for about a year before we did the kitchen. We bought it on sale, and it sat in our basement until we finally got the kitchen designed and constructed. We got a big cabinet above it. I keep a lot of my sheet pans and things actually up there. My parv ones, which means it's not dairy and it's not meat, and my fleishik ones, my meat ones, are up there. And actually I can open it and show you. So let's run over here. Should we show you anything else? Okay, so that was on my whole dairy side, all my cabinets. The ones up above are my dairy Passover cabinets, and down below we also have my dairy dishwasher, my dairy, can you see that? There we go. My dairy Lazy Susan, full of stuff. My dairy sink, yes, it has stuff in it. It is 4:30 in the afternoon. My kids have already used the kitchen today. There's stuff in my sink, I can assure you. Here's my double wall oven. I store some stuff down at the bottom. It's got a nice cabinet at the bottom. And I use that cabinet to put my big rolls of aluminum foil and things like that. And then it's got this massive cabinet up on top, and you can see it's even labeled. The bottom shelf is parv, and the top shelf is meat. So I've got all my sheet pans. Nothing is completely organized. Don't worry, it's all in the right spot, so it's okay. And then I got my double wall oven, which is meat and parv, so I can bake my cakes or breads and challahs in the bottom one. And I can use them for any meal. So I can use it for a meal if it's with dairy, and I can use it for a meal if it's with meat. So we took out the big sliding glass door here and replaced it with the second half of the kitchen. We actually had, this wall was already here, but there was no cabinetry on that wall. So what we did was we took it out and we installed another giant, I call them bathtub sinks. You could see, I think there's one thing in there. Big giant sink so that I could put tons of dishes in here. And then we wrapped the wall with cabinets. So we've got the same amount of cabinets on this side as we have on the other side. So lots of spaces for my meat dishes and my meat pots and pans. And this is the only place we actually have gas. Haha, something on my stove. This is the only place we actually have gas in my kitchen. It's my gas the only place we have gas in my entire house. Okay, so actually the only place in my entire house that we have gas. We have an electric furnace, we have an electric dryer. All of my cooking appliances are electric, but we've had a lot of power outages in this area, and we really, really wanted to put a gas stove in so that when our power's out, we could still cook. Because we've had outages that have lasted like 8 days, like big outages. So we installed a gas cooktop here. Big 36-inch gas cooktop, and underneath it I've got the big drawers. So these were still pretty new when I installed them. People were not putting the big drawers in. It had just started to be a thing, and so that was pretty cool when I put those in. It was very exciting to be able to store a lot of my dishes and things in there. And then we've got my my meat dishwasher, my meat microwave, all my meat utensils and cabinets and everything are here, which is where you usually see me doing all my work. In my island, I've got a dishwasher right over here. You can tell, just open it, there's my dishwasher. It's actually a meat dishwasher, so I have 2 meat dishwashers. And when we were deciding what to put in the kitchen, the cabinets actually cost more than the dishwashers did at that moment in time. So what I decided to do was actually install a 3rd dishwasher in my kitchen. No, I did not save it for Passover because I feel like to save it for just 8 days is just not worth the effort. It just takes up so much space that it's not worth saving it for those 8 days. But I made it meat so that after Shabbos or after a big holiday, a Yom Tov, I can run 2 dishwashers at a time to clean up all my dishes. So I've got 2 meat dishwashers and 1 dairy dishwasher in here. I also installed a garbage hole. So yes, I had them make a hole in my countertop. Since then we've actually put like a ring in it, like a special metal ring, and we wrap the garbage bag around the top of it. Even though it doesn't look so pretty, it keeps it from getting really messy in there because you're always kind of touching the garbage bag instead of anything else. My kids are pretty good at splattering things. So I've got my garbage there. I figured my kids are more likely to throw their garbage away if they don't have to do anything. They can just drop it through a hole in the countertop. So there we have a garbage hole in my countertop. And that is what's in my island. There's also 2 cabinets in here too. That's what we have in the island, and you can see there's plenty of space to walk around. I was very careful to make sure that there's enough space to walk around the island and to maneuver around it. So this is what it came out looking like. I think it looks great. Okay, so in my kitchen, we used to have a big wall right here that separated the kitchen and the foyer, and we had a big coat closet. I moved the coat closet to the mudroom and opened the space up so that we could put our kitchen table here. Now I gave the table a big curve because that gives me more perimeter, which means that I can seat more people around my table. I can seat 8 people on this table, or at this table, at one time, which makes it perfect because we have sometimes guests and family members. So there's plenty of space to sit at this table. And that is what kind of completed this space. So we've used all of the available space that was inside the space we already had, and we just restructured it. And that's my kitchen. That's the very first kitchen that I ever built. Now, would I do it differently if I did it now? I actually really like the layout of my kitchen, and I think that I wouldn't really change it. I might change the shape of my kitchen table if I were to redo it again, because my husband hates the curve. He just hates it. I was like, but that was the only way I could fit everything. So I would probably manipulate it a little bit. It would still need a curve because I still would want to seat a lot of people, but I probably would change it a little bit. And I would probably use different materials than I used for this kitchen. So I still love the dark cabinets. I would still put a dark cabinet. Definitely. I would probably do a lighter countertop in quartz, so I wouldn't have to worry about the staining, but just because it would kind of brighten up the space a little bit. We don't always get a huge amount of sunlight in here, just because there's a lot of trees outside, which is beautiful, but also it's not super, super bright. So I probably would maybe do a lighter countertop just to brighten the space a little more than it already is. I think that's pretty much it. I think that's the only thing I would change in my kitchen because I really like how it turned out. It's really easy to work in. I have to show you one thing. My husband found these special kits when we were doing this. Let me tilt the camera up. Do you see that? I have a dome in my kitchen. My husband had the greatest time, and the contractor that installed it did not have the greatest time. But we have this fun dome kind of set into the kitchen ceiling. I wouldn't change that either because I love it. So I would definitely leave that. This is my kitchen. This is the very first one I did. And I hope you enjoyed it. I'm hoping to take you on tours of some of the other kitchens that I've done or will be doing because I'm still working on a whole bunch of them. And if you like this video, please go ahead hit like, subscribe to my channel, click the bell for notifications so you get notified every time I upload a new video, and go ahead and check out my website, flippinghouseandpancakes.com.